Happy Friday, everybody. Big waves to you. Go ahead and get them hands moving. Make you smile this morning as we end the week, headed into the weekend, and grateful for you guys tuning in. So the word for today, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to remind everybody a couple of times next week, but I want you to start thinking about a word for next Thursday. We're going to call it Thankful Thursday, okay? And we're going to come on here and we're going to unmute your line and just give us something you're thankful for. I know you got a million things you're thankful for, but pick one and say, I'm thankful. And this is why. Really quick, but we're going to try to get through a lot of people. Thankful Thursday coming up. So our word for today is reliable. If you look at the definition of reliable, consistently good in quality or performance, able to be trusted. I think if I were to ask any of you on here what reliable means, what reliable is, you'd probably in some form or fashion lay that out, But I'll tell you what reliable makes me think of. It makes me think of commitment. Commitment means staying loyal to what you said you were going to do long after the mood you said it has left you. You know what I'm saying? Like commitment means me staying loyal to doing these burpees in the morning long after the mood of these burpees and all this stuff I'm trying to do has left. Because I want to tell you, this morning, I just wanted to walk. I'm like, can I just have a little peace in my walk? But you know what? I because of the Level Up community, I stayed committed and loyal to where I'm going. So reliable for me, I think a commitment. So people inherently value reliability. Think about this. Here's a fact. Every day, think of the things that we value that are reliable. Reliable cars, because they save us time and they save us money on repairs. I'm pretty appreciative for a reliable car. What about reliable mail? You order something, you want it to get to you. Like, come on. What about the reliable text message? If I send Andrea a text message, I don't know how all that goes through the lines and all. I don't care. I just want it to be reliable and get from point A to point B. What about reliable cell phone service? Now, if you live in the state of Alabama or Mississippi, cell phone service could be a little sketchy, and you realize it's not reliable. But we do rely on cell phone service to stay connected. What about reliable airlines to take off on time? How many of you's been out on a runway and they go, excuse me, and as soon as they say it, I'm like, delay. What about a reliable restaurant to have quality food and quality service? I'm not going to put my 2 cents in on that. What about reliable friends and colleagues who do what they say they will do? Am I some of those things? Am I reliable? That's where I went this morning. But here, if I am reliable, if you are a reliable human, here's the benefits. They come with rewards. And I'm going to turn it to Andrea. They come with rewards. People see this. They see the quality of being reliable as a great thing. So if you're showing the reliability in your life every day, people are looking at you and seeing great attributes. You're more likable and valued. Your church is going to value you more. They're going to like you more. Your relationship, all this stuff, you're more valued when you're reliable. More people will trust you. You're a more trustworthy person if you're reliable. If you're reliable, your relationships and your network will grow in a positive way over our lifespan. So What if you hadn't been reliable? Have you ever had times in your life, you don't have to raise your hand, that you went through a period where you're just not as reliable? The beauty of it is we can stop, hit the reset button, and move in the different direction. And Andrea is going to talk about that. So, Andrea, I'm going to turn it to you.
Well, thank you, Coach. And all I could think about was, like, aren't we all grateful that our coaches have been reliable for almost 2 years now? And that I personally am so grateful for everybody that plugs in so consistently, because it's created this incredible community. Like, I moved across the country, didn't have really local community here, but I still had community here, and it made it so seamless. So I'm so grateful for each of you for being reliable. So selfishly, thank you for that. But I found a couple of quotes that made me smile. So first of all, don't be reliable only when it's convenient. Like, has anybody been guilty of that? I think I am reliably doing burpees only when it's convenient, right? Or the most attractive, I think this is so true. The most attractive thing anyone can do is exactly what they said they were going to do, right? Isn't it attractive when you have people in your circle that are reliable? But since it's so important to our relationships, to our businesses, to our success, to our families, an important question we can ask ourselves is, how reliable am I? Right? Like, you ever look in the mirror and go, "Ooh, I'm not quite sure. I like what I'm seeing right now." But even if we're like, "Okay, I think I'm pretty reliable. Like, I think I'm pretty good here," I think it never hurts to improve. So here's some simple and obvious, but still can be a little bit difficult ways that we can become more reliable. So first of all, only make commitments that we can stick to. Like, obviously, right? Like, none of us wants to commit to something that we don't think we can follow through on. But I know that I, for one, can be so guilty of this, in that I bite off more than I can chew, because I don't necessarily think through to the end. Like, I think, well, Susan asked me to, and I want to say yes. I want to commit to whatever she asked me to. So I say yes, and then I'm like, well, I'll figure it out later. But sometimes we can't. So sometimes the best thing that we can do to be reliable is to say that no. And I know I talk about this book all the time because it's a lesson I need to learn repeatedly, but The Best Yes by Lisa TerKeurst. Sometimes the best thing that we can do in being reliable is to say, no, I'm so sorry, but that's not something I can take onto my plate right now. I can't commit to that right now. And they'll know that when you say yes, you mean it. And that can be respected, a way to create respect in your relationships. Next, be honest. Again, it's a duh, right? Coach talked about that, like one of Coach Myra's core values. If you ask her if those pants look good, she's going to tell you no if they don't, right? And sometimes we have to say those uncomfortable honesties, right? Maybe not that one. But truthfulness is a key component to being a reliable human. And the more we're honest with other people, even when it's hard, they can know that they can trust us and rely on us to be, to give them the truth when they really, really need it. And then always be ready to help others out. So if we see somebody in need and we are in a position and we have the ability to fill that need, then fill it, right? Let people know that we are there, and then have the mentality to improve. And I was thinking about this morning, is that if we're always working on improving our skills, gaining more knowledge, and improving our abilities, we increase our ability to be more reliable. So I was thinking about, if I'm driving down the road and, Jane on this big road trip, she gets a flat tire and she pulls over on the side of the road and needs help. Well, she cannot rely on me. I would have no idea how to even get the spare out of her trunk or wherever it might be, right? So she cannot rely on me to help her with that tire because I have not developed those skills, right? Like, that's not in my skill set. So maybe I'll take a class. But we should always be looking at the ways that we can improve, in our communication skills, with our, parenting skills, with our skills at work. The more skills that we acquire, the more ways that we can be counted on in the different realms of our life. And then lastly, be present. And I heard this thing with kids, you know, I don't know how, I think most of everybody on here has got kiddos or people in their lives that possibly talk to them about nonsense. Have you ever had that conversation? Like in my house, it's like computer games, and my son, adore him, but he's going to tell me everything about this computer game. But one thing that I heard when they were very tiny is if you're present with your kids and listen to the nonsense conversations, then later when that conversation really matters, they know that they can rely on you to listen and they'll share it. And all of our conversations are like that. Like, I know I've definitely had conversations, you know, talking to a girlfriend, and maybe I'm going through it, right? And I'm like yammering because I need to work through something. And she's like, right, like looking at her watch, looking at her phone, and she's not present. Well, then I know that I can't rely on that person to be there for me when I need it. So the flip side is, what can we do to be present? So listen to the nonsense conversations as much as we can, right? And then in the bigger conversations, in the tougher conversations, and the harder things, do our best to be present. So if we need to, like some of us are distractible, so we got to actually take off the watch, right? Turn off the notifications, flip over our phone, make the eye contact, and truly be present so they know that we can rely, or they can rely on us. So that's what I got this morning. Thank you so much, Coach. Can't wait for Thankful Thursday. That sounds like fun.
Andrea, that was great. That was amazing. And I'm just going to say this, but if Jane Rouse has to get in her trunk and get that tire on this road trip, she's going to be ticked at you because you brought it into existence. So Susan Salen's over going, she's right. She is going to be ticked at you. It's kind of like being on the
AAA
plane
for you, Jane. I'll call AAA.
It's kind of like being on the plane, and if Rick Briefs is over there and he goes, I hope we don't get delayed out here on the runway, and everybody on the plane goes, are you kidding me? So I'm just playing. I'm playing. Guys, we love you. We appreciate you. Jane, have safe travels out there. We're talking about your travel. Just so everybody knows, across social media world, Jane's traveling this weekend. So we love you. We're grateful for you. We'll see you back on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Grateful
Have a
for
great
you guys.
weekend.
Thanks so much.
Great weekend.
Thank you.
Every day.
God bless you.
Grateful for you. Love you guys.
Love you.